485 visas. No dependent or primary applicant, you know what they're doing? Student visa, student visa, student visa, and then 485 graduate visa. And then once that's done, they go back to student visa. Now that part is being looked at immigration as just, cutting you off, and there's a greater off refusal when that happens. So really the trust of the Department of Home Affairs now is to cut the number of temporary visa holders staying in Australia. So they want to make sure that if you're holding a temporary visa, you've got to stay as a temporary resident in Australia with no prospect of being here on, say, for example, student visa, 10 years ka nang nag-aaral, di ka pa natatapos, nandito ka na hanggang sa parang naging permanente mo ng residente ang Australia with that. So they're looking at that more particularly with the changes that's coming. Now, also the 485 visa. Now, there are changes with the 485 visa, which you could also draw out from student visa changes. Now, one of the graduate 485 visa change is, of course, again, the English test requirement for the 485 will also increase. It will be raised from 6.0 to 6.5. And I am thinking that it will be a time of application as well, not the time of decision requirement. So meaning to say, when you lodge your 485, when you're due for your 485, you must have reached the 6.5. And other people, what they're doing now, other students, what they're doing now is sometimes when they don't reach the 6.0 requirement for 485, they go for another student visa until they get the 6.0. So now I don't think it's going to happen anymore, because just like what I've said, immigration will scrutinize the second student visa onshore. So there will be a greater chance of that application getting refused. Now also, the maximum age limit for the subclass 485 is reduced from 50 years old to 35 years old. So I think that's really harsh. Now at the moment, any student visa holders who have completed the CRICOS course and did it for 2 years, they are eligible for subclass 485 and be able to stay in Australia for 1.5 years or sometimes 2 years if they've done their bachelor, or sometimes 3 years if they've done their master's in research. But at this time, regardless of their age, ang limit is 50 years old. But with these new changes, it's only up to 35. So if that is the change, kung hanggang 35 lang ang 485, we are looking at student visa applicants to be a lot younger. All right. So I don't know if you can see the connection. And that is why with Auspac visa, we have started screening the applicants. In fact, we do not want to get applicants for student visa that's over 29 years old. Unless you're getting master's or PhD programs. So at least that may be consistent with the program itself. No? So yeah, from 50 to 35 years old. The fear of people now are those who are student visa holders. They are panicking now. What about us? What's going to happen to us? I'm about to finish in March or in July, and suddenly this. Am I still eligible? I'm 40 years old. That is the question now, and I receive a lot of queries to that effect. Now, please don't panic too much, because normally what immigration is doing is that they provide at least a transition arrangement, because if they're going to introduce this will be really harsh for the student visa holders. So in order to remedy that, or to at least lessen the impact of that harsh change, they usually do introduce transitional arrangement. But I'm not speaking for immigration. I'm speaking from experience. So we're hoping that there will be a transitional arrangement for the current visa holders eligible to apply for their 485 using the old rule. Okay, now the duration of visa is changed a little bit. So Now, the bachelor degrees will be given at least 2 years of stay under the graduate visa. And those who are taking up masters will also be given 2 years. And those who are taking up masters by research will be given 3 years. And for PhD students, they will be given 3 years. Now, what's the change? Well, the change was, of course, for PhD students, it will be reduced to 3 years. So, medyo mababaw, maikli na lang, no? And then also the change will be the eligibility for second temporary graduate visa. It is available only for the regional graduates, not for the metropolitan graduates. And the extension of post-study rights for eligible universities and eligible courses, they seem to disappear. No, parang parang may mali doon, ano? Kasi they have just announced all this, accredited universities and accredited courses that you will be eligible for further post-study grants, and then suddenly it's not in the strategy plan. I do not know what's going to happen on that side, but let's watch and let's see whatever will be the changes. Now,